It's a pleasure to be together with you once again. I'm still not out of the woods. Talmud Mordechai, then Sarah and Yitzhak Hashem, and we're getting closer and closer in Yitzhak Hashem. The Inyan of Soita, Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, says, is mostly, the major point is Shalom ben Ish le'isha. Of course, there is a consequence when a husband has questions about his wife's loyalty and infidelity. Of course. But the main idea is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Godel HaShalom ben Ish le'isha, Sha'amr Torah, that Shem Hashem, which is written B'Kedusha, Yimoche. So that's the point that's stressed. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu understood, so to speak, that even once a husband has questions about his wife's behavior, even if Eidim come and they say, we know everything is fine, to Eidim, Al Pishnayim Eidim Yakum Davor, that's Al Pidin. But there are going to be a hergation that can be a major problem because it's still not enough. And even if a Navi comes, and a Navi, I know that everything's fine, and we're supposed to be able to follow the dictates of a Navi, but still problem. One has to, in order for a person to be comfortable that his wife is loyal and there is no infidelity, it has to come from HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. That's the underlying idea of Satan. That therefore, when Shem Hashem is allowed to be dissolved, it's Yimoche. So that's as if Kav Yochel, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, is saying, this woman is, whatever the situation will be. And if she goes through okay, she has been loyal. And the husband will be mollified, and there can be shalom bias once again, and that is the main concept. It's an interesting kanech in how to appreciate that. That's number one. The Gemara says, "Kol haroy yisoyte bil kukula, yazer es atzim v'nayayin." And everybody asks the shaila, what does he need yazer atzim v'nayayin for? He sees the yisoyte bil kukula. That should be enough. Yes, this is the yazer atzim v'nayayin. So the Bali Musar explained that a person has to do something. It's not enough to be able just to see a terrible thing happen, but it makes the impression on him. And the thing is that he should do an action, even if it is in this sense Yazra, he will abstain from drinking wine. Rav Reuben Grozovsky, Rav Shiva, and Torah V'das had a different approach, and he said the following, based on the Rambam. It says, "Mibriyoso shel Adam," he is nimshach after reya v'chaveros. It is in the bria of a person, the nature of a person. He doesn't say minhagol shalaylam. He emphasized it's not minhagol shalaylam. It is mibriyoso shel Adam. The person's nature is that there is a netiya. He doesn't use the lashon of leiv ra ha'adami neurosa, that he doesn't speak about that. But he says the very fact is a person has a yetzer, and when something that he sees is wrong, is bad, there is an impression that's made. The fact is that Ra makes an impression. That's why a person is not allowed to look at a picture of a Rasha. We avoid ever look at a person, see someone, a face of someone, even a historic personality who was a Russian Marusha. We shouldn't be mistaken. I mean, we see it, we turn away. It's like when Rabbi Victor Miller, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, said to one of our children, when he asked him, how do you get through the summer when you're walking in the street and people are walking, inappropriately dressed? He said, study the pavement. This is study the pavement. Okay? That's the idea. As mekuknish, we don't look. And therefore, that's the same thing over here. Stay away. So therefore, when we say why, it's not enough then to say that, a person sees something and he sees the Saita B'Kukula, it's true. It's an awful thing what's happening to her, but it's Ma'orer perhaps in a person that Netil Ra, therefore you have to do something, and that's Yazir Satzim and Yayin, abstain from drinking wine. And that is a mahalach for us, certainly, a person has to be on guard at all times as such. I want to end with an idea about Nazirus that is mentioned by Reb Shimon Schwab in his Sefer, as Me'ein HaShoeva. And that is as follows. The Haftarah in this week's Seder speaks about Manoach and his wife who couldn't give birth. She was barren, and Ish Elokim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends a malach, and he speaks to her, and he says, you're going to give birth. And make sure, no yayin, no shechar, nothing that a nazir can't eat. Mora lo rosho, there shouldn't be a razor on his hair. He's going to be a nazir mibeten, the child who you will give birth to, and he will bring a salvation against the plishtim. Well, she tells her husband and repeats it, and he's mispal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please send me that person again. He doesn't realize he's a malach. Send him to us again so we should know what to do with the child. Okay. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the person again. He sends the malach Elokim. Malachim is there, and he speaks to Manoah. And he says to him, Mikol asher amarti la'isha tishomer. Everything that I told this woman, be careful about. And the fact that he reiterates exactly everything. And he ends with Kol asher tzivisiha tishmor. And everything that I told her, tishmor. So Reb Shimon Schwab says like this. What's the necessity of bringing this malach back? He didn't know he's a malach. But why bring this man back? After all, you want to know how to deal with a child who's going to be a nazir? There are many people who know Hilchas Nazir. Go find out the halacha. What do you have to bring him back to tell you about how to deal with the child? What is the point? So the point, he says, as follows, was not to learn Hilchas Naziris. That he could have gone to the Talmidei Chachamim in the door. But he wanted to know Hilchas Chinuch. How do I bring up a child in the home to be a Nazir when I'm not a Nazir? We're not Nazir. All right, his wife was told in order to be able to be, that this child to be a Nazir Mibeten, so you be careful what to drink and how to handle him in that respect. But says Manoach, what should I do? And the Malach comes back and he tells him straight off. He says at the end, Kol asher tzivisiha, everything that she was commanded, Tishmor. Now the word Tishmor could have one of two meanings. Tishmor means third person, she should be careful, okay? And that's the way it is usually translated. But Reb Shimon says, no. Tishmor can also mean you should be careful. You want your child to be a nazir, then you have to be a nazir. And therefore, it's a halacha in chinuch. If a parent wants his child to be something, then he has to be something. He wants him to be involved in learning, he has to be involved in learning. He wants him to say brachas out loud. He wants him to have avas HaTorah, he has to demonstrate avas HaTorah. And demonstrate simchas HaTorah. This is the way it is. That chol asher tzivisiha, everything she was told, tishmor, you should do. And the yesod is, portion that this is exactly the way it is. That we have to be careful to be that dugma isha, the dugma ishi for our children, for our spouses, and everyone around us. A guten Shabbos.